Good morning. So today we are here to discuss the paper introduced recently by the BPSC, that is on essay. You must have seen the drastic changes in the pattern of the exam is being seen, what the BPSC has done, and those changes you must have noticed that the optional paper has been made qualifying, and the questions will be of MCQ type, that is multiple choice questions. Another major change, which we say that it is the most profound change, rather, let me put it this way, that the Commission has introduced a new paper of essay for 300 marks. The first thing what we have to understand is that why this essay has been introduced, what could be its significance for civil service, and what type of essays are going to be asked in this paper for 300 marks. Another thing which we should be obliged to the chairman of the BPSC, that he has explained properly the pattern of the essay, what type of essays they are going to ask, and in how many sections. Generally what happens, you must have noticed in UPSC also, when the syllabus was changed in 2013, the Commission never pointed out or gave any outline that what could be the possible questions. But here in BPSC, things have been made very clear that the nature of the essay, the number of essays in the paper, everything has been clarified by the chairman, and that's why I said that we should be obliged to him to give us the clear-cut idea. It's a great satisfaction to me that when the Commission had changed the syllabus and the pattern of the exam, I had launched a video on YouTube in which I had guessed, or we can say, to some extent we can say speculated or anticipated rather, that these could be the possible formats of essay, and it could not be in one section simply, it has to be in more than one section. So that gives me immense satisfaction that yes, the way, the direction we were discussing, the Commission is also in the same direction, and that way obviously it is a step to boost my confidence also, to guide you or to tell you what type of essay writing we should understand and how to write an emphatic essay in the Commission to secure very high percentage of marks. Now, before I go into the details, let me just give you a glimpse of the new pattern. You have General Studies paper 1, then General Studies paper 2, then you have optional subject, and now you have essay. Now this is totally different. Optional is now of MCQ. They are going to ask 100 questions, and most importantly, it is qualifying in nature. The most profound change, as I was referring to, is essay of 300 marks. And this is to be classified in 3 sections, 1, 2 and 3. Each section will have 4 essays, of which you have to write 1. It means you are going to get 12 altogether, and you have to write D. This is the pattern. Now, what the chairman said, that in section 1 and 2, the topics for essay would be more or less similar to what the Union Public Service Commission gives you the questions, the topics. Pattern will be more or less the same like that of the UPSC. But very interestingly, section 3, what he was referring to, will include the topics from the proverbial statements which are embedded in the cultural traits of the state of Bihar. He quoted one example. 𝐂𝐥𝐢𝐳 And very interestingly again, he said that it would not be translated, rather it would be transliterated. It means the same statement will be written in Roman script. So what we will write? 𝐃𝐨𝐰𝐳𝐥𝐴DHI and 𝐂𝐴NHTA. That becomes 𝐂𝐥𝐢𝐳. The purpose of writing this or giving this topic in transliterated form or in Roman script is to find out your understanding of the cultural traits of the state. Why it is so? We see that we live in society. Let me give one example. We live in society. Society is guided by politics. And society includes culture. It means the culture forms the bedrock of the social system. If someone understands this culture, he will be able to understand the social system almost in near perfect manner. And unless and until you know these two, you cannot understand the guidance or guidelines given by the political masters, and you cannot administer the things. So for administration, the prime focus of a bureaucrat or an administrator should be to understand the socio-cultural settings of the state or of the nation. That's why what he said, that the proverbial statements which are very popular in Bihar, they would be asked as essay topics and they would be written in Roman script, because if you translate this, they might lose the very essence of that culture trait. This is the most interesting part of the paper of essay. And what I feel personally, that it is one of the finest moves to pick up those candidates who really understand or who could understand the cultural traits of the state. This is the uniqueness. And probably this is going to be the first state in India to have this kind of thing. In that sense, BPSC takes an edge over the other state PCS exams. Another very interesting aspect of this kind of transliterated topics is, if you understand the meaning, you understand the culture. So the chances of securing better marks are more than section 1 and 2 topics. Section 1 and 2 topics will be neutral, means they will not be related to any specific subject. So it will not give any advantage to anybody. It will have a level playing field. The topics will be neutral, but they would be like what UPSC asks. So more or less, a good candidate who has prepared thoroughly, more or less all of them would write similar things. So marks will not be drastically different, but this will create a difference in the writing. If you understand the cultural traits and if you are able to write it properly, you will definitely get an edge over other candidates. This is the interesting part of that. Another thing what the Commission's chairman had pointed out, which we have to focus, is that parameters on which they are going to give you marks. So 4 pillars he has identified. First is your writing skills. Second, your analytical skills. Third, your ideas or thought. And the fourth is your argument. So you have to show the power of your argument. These are the 4 pillars on which the examiners would give you marks. Now we have to understand one by one what exactly do we mean by writing skill, analytical skill, ideas and argument. This we'll discuss after 2-3 minutes. Now before that, let me point out another very important thing is that essay is not an extension of general study. Now look at this statement. Not an extension of GS. Then what it is? The topics will be neutral, as I was referring to. Means in GS what do we study? You study history, culture, polity, economy, science and tech, environment and ecology, geography, current affairs, so many. So from where they would get the topic? That is the question. If you get a question topic from culture or politics or administration or economics or science, something has to be related to general studies. But how then he says that essay is not an extension of GS? That also we have to understand very minutely and very intricately. If you understand, you will be able to write powerful essay. Now let me see one by one, let me discuss one by one. What exactly is meant by writing skill? When you are writing on some topic, what exactly it is? It is a form of communication. So for communication, you need language. Your language has to be examined or tested. That is one. Second, clarity in communication. Suppose you are going to meet a farmer who is illiterate as SDM, and you are supposed to tell him about say genetically modified crops, GM crops. You know that the farmers are illiterate to whom you are going to address. Now you cannot discuss with them what is genetic engineering, what is recombinant DNA technology, what is transgenesis. You cannot talk in that language. So your language has to be simplified, containing these scientific details in a very clear-cut manner so that the farmers adopt that technology. That is an art. Explaining the things, technical things in simpler language. So you have to focus on your language must be simple and lucid. Then it must be very clear, no ambiguity at all. That is very, very important. The third is sequence of facts. The number of facts that you are giving in support of your writing, that they must have been or they must be in a correct sequence. Correct sequence means, what is correct sequence? So correct sequence means the first one should be with the administrative approach, then whatever you want to write. For example, if you are writing on space science, you have to write first in agriculture, industry, health, education, then go on writing. So this is the correct sequence that highlights that your temperament is bureaucratic and your approach is scientific also, and at the same time you understand how a bureaucrat should behave in the field. That's why the sequencing or correct sequencing of facts is very, very important. And finally, you must have your idea or your thought. So these are the four things, four components based on which we call that a person has a writing skill. The second pillar, what the Commission's chairman said, was analytical skill. Now, analytical skill deals with two things. One, viability of the things, and second, applicability. How much viable, how much practical, applicable a particular concept is. That is what the analysis is. If I want to analyze, suppose this, then I have to write down that how this is going to be viable and how this is going to be applicable. Now, applicable in different sectors, maybe society, maybe economics, maybe politics, maybe environment. Let us think as many sectors as possible. The applicability of the topic, applicability of the concept, and viability of the concept, if you write these two things, we say that you have properly analyzed that particular aspect. The third, what he said, was the idea, and the fourth is the argument. Now let us talk about that. How to generate an argument. Now I am also writing the same word, but it will have a different connotation. I am writing these four letters. Idea. This is information. This is description. This is expression, and this is analysis. If you converge all these, what it will create? This will create your argument, and that will decide the position of the writer on the topic. So to develop an argument, what do we need? We need information about that. We need to know how to describe it. We need to know how to express the things, and we need to know how to analyze. Now let me explain it through an example. Suppose I quote an example that India is federal in character, but unitary in spirit. This is a statement. So this is obviously an information for us. I read the statement quoted by someone, and I have been informed that India is federal in character and unitary in spirit. Now I have to describe. Description I have to give. So I have to elaborate the meaning of this. What is the meaning of being federal? What is the meaning of being federal in character? So what is character? And then what is meant by unitary or unionism, and what is meant by being unitary in spirit? Everything has to be explained, and for that let me explain it properly for you. That India is, suppose, This is the center. And if center gives you the resource like this, there may be a deflection, and if it happens, then the population here will not get the resources, because the radius is too big. The distance from the center to the margin is too big. So the chances of deflection are very high. So what did we do? The center created the estates created the panchayats, and the panchayat reached to the people. So we have created a decentralized structure which we call federal, so that every individual gets the resource properly. That's why we say that it is federal in character, because character is always visible, spirit is not visible. So what we see in India is the federal nature or federal character, and this is made for the distribution of resources. But it is unitary in spirit, means whenever there is a danger on the existence of the country or the nation, the powers converge towards the union. Say for example, when emergency is declared or proclaimed on the ground of, say, a war, so the very existence of the nation is under threat. In that case, the Constitution of India says that all power should be vested in the union, and India becomes perfectly a unitary state, just like Japan or France or Britain. And in that situation, India is able to protect its existence. This is the description of this statement, what I was referring to, idea. Now we have to express, means we have to give your own thought. So what I said or how I explained, that will signify that India is federal in character for the purpose of distribution of resources down to the grassroots level to each and every individual, and it is unitary in spirit because of protecting its very existence at the time of emergency or crisis. This is my expression. And analysis is your own argument. That argument is that since India is a big nation, geographically vast, so it is one of the best methods or one of the best ways to reach to the people through the resources and to protect the nation, or to protect the unity and integrity of the nation. We are union, and to distribute the resources, we are federal. This is our argument. And now we have to give the examples or substantiate our argument with certain facts. So this is what an essay requires, this idea, and that's why the commission chairman has said that the marks will be given on the very argument of the writer or the essayist in that essay. Every essay requires this. Every essay requires this 4-letter: information, description, expression, and analysis. Any damn topic, if you follow this pattern, you will score not less than 60% in essay. Is almost without doubt. The second thing what I am supposed to discuss today is how it is not an extension of GS. So what is the difference between reading GS or studying GS, getting information for essay, and how it is differentiated, that we have to understand. GS and essay, let me compare, and I would take an example. I would take you to some scientific thing. I will discuss here about first human brain, and then I will take you to GS and essay. Now what brain does? It works on convergence divergence principle. How? When we are awake, we are in conscious state, so we get inputs from various sources. From different sources, we collect inputs. When the brain is in conscious state, it takes the inputs, it does not process them. So here we can say these are inputs. Once you take rest, the subconscious part of your brain starts working. And in that state, it processes in subconscious condition. And after processing, you get an idea or a central thought. This is done. Now this central thought is diverged in different directions This is outputs. This is convergence divergence principle on which human brain functions. So at the time of conscious, at the conscious state, it takes the inputs. At subconscious state, it processes them, gets a central thought. Once you understand the topic, once you understand the thing, you have a central thought around that, and then you can utilize it in various sectors. This is what our brain does. Now let us see what is GS and what is an essay. GS is also different subjects: history, culture, polity, economics, geography, environment, science and tech, current affairs. You converge them to call it general study, and then you diverge them like history and culture, then politics, then economics, then geography, then environment, like that. What does this mean? Different subjects in general studies, though they converge, but they are examined individually. Your political answers will be examined with the prism of politics. Your history and culture answers would be examined from the prism of history. So every segment of general studies are examined individually, and accordingly the marks is given. What essay requires? Change this. You write, let us write essay here. Again you take the inputs: history, polity, economy, geography, and so on. So how it is different from GS? It is not different. It is not an extension. He says that it is not different from GS. It is not an extension of GS. So information will come from various subjects as you study different parts of different segments of general studies. So this is what information is. Sources of your information will be the subjects of your general study. The only difference is that here you have to process like your brain and get a central thought and then this central thought will be diverged to, this is divergence, this is your information, here you have to describe them, this is your expression, and this is your analysis, and that becomes the concept of idea which I was referring. So you have to get all information from the general studies, process them, get one single thought on that particular topic, that is your argument, and that argument is analyzed, and that analysis means, I was referring to two things: the viability of that topic or argument and the applicability. For example, if I quote one essay which has been asked already, if youth knew, if age could. This was a topic asked in UPSC, obviously, UPSC. Now, what does this mean? Youth can, but youth does not know. Age knows, but it cannot do. So what youth has the feature? It is physically capable to do something, but lesser information. Lesser information, why? Because of the lesser experience. Aged people has vast experience, but physically incapable. And that creates the generation gap. Capabilities is physical. Experience and understanding is psychological. So it requires physical strength. It also requires the psychological bent of mind to understand that experience, to understand that thing, what I have to do, what I don't have to do. Right? So, what the essay wants? The essay wants that there should not be any generation gap in the society. Generation gap, where do we study? We study in society. We study in sociology as a subject. It means this essay topic includes some component of social system, something from psychological aspect, something from physical science, means the physical aspect of human beings, and the application part. So if the youth takes some lesson from this experience, since he is physically capable, so he can perform. So the age should give its, the age should, or aged people should share their experience to the youth, and the youth must be able to learn those, or learn some lesson from those experiences of the aged people. And since aged people cannot do physically the things the youth can do, so there will be a synchronization between the young generation and the older generation, and there would not be any generation gap. This could be my central thought or my argument. Now I have to justify that why aged people cannot do this and why youth cannot understand this, because the youth or young person has a very shorter history. If you are, see, 20, 22 years, 25 years of age, you have a very small or shorter history of 10, 15, 20 years. You have a vast future. Take that lesson from the experienced people and start working on that, because you are physically capable. You have a very bright future, and you have shorter history of, say, 20 years. When you add 30 years of experience, your history becomes of 50 years, and then you can have a bright future. This I understand by reading this statement, and this is the argument of my essay. and that argument needs to be proven. This is what the essay requires. This is what the essay demands. And that's why he says that it is not an extension of general study. It means take the information from GS subjects, mingle them, blend them, get a central thought, and try to express that central thought and apply that central thought in different directions. For example, the argument which I referred to, that youth shorter history in terms of experience, say 20 years, aged people, long history, short future. Short history, long future. 40 years of experience or 50 years of experience. Now take this 50 years of experience and add it to this. So you have 70 years of history, and still you have a very long future. So this 50 years of experience, if added here, the youth will have a very bright future. This is the argument. Now how to apply it, where to apply it. So it will lead to individual development, social development, psychological development, economic development, everything. So if this argument is highlighted in the essay, then ultimately you are different from writings in general studies. Because in general studies, your writing will also be confined to subjects which you have read, and they will be examined individually. Here the examiner will examine your argument in a collective manner or in comprehensive manner, or after you have blended all those information to form an argument. That's why the chairman said that it is not an extension of GS. I think you are able to understand it, right? Any doubts? Fine. So this is what the essay requires, and this is what the demand of the essay is in commission. Another thing what we have to discuss is that one more topic I am giving you, that a city is not only a geography, it's a lifestyle and a culture. City is not only a geography, it's a lifestyle and also a culture. Now, what does this mean? City or urban settlements or urbanization, we do study in geography. But there is a thought behind. That is a city only a geographical aspect? No. When you are asked in GS, urbanization, you will write how development of urban settlements takes place. What is suburbanization? What is urban settlement? What is a city? How it is different from town? What is the area? What are the resources? You will write all things related to geography, the population. But the statement says that it is not only a geography, it is a lifestyle and it is a culture. It means how geography penetrates the society, how society penetrates the culture, and how cultural aspects develop over the period, and how do they shape the mindsets of the attitudes of the people residing in that urban settlement or the town or the city. So geography, society, culture, economics, everything have to be blended to come out with a central thought that a city is not only geography, it is a lifestyle and a culture also. Another topic, if I refer, to which direction or in which direction our democracy is moving. It means democracy is a political concept, but the direction in which it is moving, that might affect society, that might affect economy, that will, not might, that will affect the society, that will affect individuals' attitude, that will affect the economic system of that country. So it is not confined that I am studying democracy only in the context of making it a political order. No. Are you getting? So it is not only political aspect. How democracy penetrates into the social system, how democracy penetrates into the culture, and how does it bring in changes in the cultural traits or social system. If yes, then individually, if we are growing, individually if we are sound, then our democracy is matured. If I write the argument that democracy of India is moving in the direction of attaining maturity, this is my argument in the essay. And that argument will have to be justified by logics, by reasoning. So, now let us summarize. A good essay requires what? The information, the description, the expression, the analysis, the argument, the reasoning, lucid language, then clarity, correct sequence of facts. These are certain basic requirements of any damn essay. Of this, argument is most important thing. This is the point which makes essay different from articles. In Hindi we call it lekh, and essay we call nibandh. So what is the difference between essay and article? Article is shorter relatively and written on a particular topic, a specific topic. But it does not necessarily require your argument. On the other hand, essay is relatively longer, multidimensional, still based on the argument which should form the undercurrent of your writing. This is the difference between essay and argument. I would quote a great essayist here, Aldous Huxley. Before that, I will write another name, Michael Montaigne, who coined the term essay. Michael Montaigne coined the term essay and said that essay is a systematic discourse. Everything has to be written in a systematic manner, correct sequence. This is what the person who coined the term essay said. Aldous Huxley tells us very interesting statement that essay is a literary device which incorporates or which includes almost everything on almost anything, any damn topic. You write almost everything on almost anything. If you have written that, that could be considered as essay according to Huxley. Is it okay? A literary device including the writing almost everything on almost anything. You imagine the topic, any damn topic. The life is long journey between human beings and being human. The life is long journey between human beings and being human. There is a topic asked. Culture is what we are, civilization is what we have. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to a tranquil self. Philosophy of wantlessness is utopian. Philosophy of wantlessness is utopian. If I say that I do not have any wants, then that is a utopia. Everybody has certain wants. So it says that philosophy of wantlessness is utopian, while materialism is a chimera. Then simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. You are looking at the statements. The statements are very neutral, does not have any relation to any subject. Can't say it is philosophy all. No, it is not philosophy. It is abstract, and abstract things may be explored in different segments. You may take it to society, you may take it to economic development, you may take it to history and culture, you may take it to philosophy and politics and administration, everywhere. These are the neutral topics. I am sure you are getting what I am trying to say. So what the Commission's chairman says, that topics would be neutral. This is what neutral topics are. They do not have any intimate relation with any of the subjects, so that a person who has or who is well versed with all topics, all subjects in general studies, he should take advantage. No, this is not. No one will get an advantage. It is a level playing field created by the Commission. That's why these are the topics which are generally asked. And that is the reason why the BPSC has also introduced the topics of essay, and they would ask these neutral topics. If you follow the concept what I discussed today, you would definitely score very high percentage of marks. Now in the next lecture or in the next video, I would discuss what exactly is essay, what are its types, different types of essays, and how to write an essay, means what could be the strategy. So I will discuss a 7-step strategy in the next lecture, and what introduction should include, what the conclusion should include, what the main body should include. All these things we'll discuss in next lecture and in next video, because today my idea was to introduce the concept of essay which the Commission has introduced as a paper, and what he says, the chairman, what we should get out of that. This was the basic reason to have this class. In the next lecture, as I said, We'll discuss introduction, main part, main body, conclusion, the types of essay, the 7-step strategy, and then we'll switch over slowly and gradually. We'll switch over to different segments of essay, maybe abstract and philosophical, politico-administrative, socio-cultural, historical, scientific, technological, environmental, all that. I think you should be able to understand what I said today, and definitely I'm dead sure that you will get good percentage of marks if you follow this thing. Thank you very much.